Okay, so I don't know where the video stopped at, but I was saying that Yeshua was laid in a manger. He was sinless. Anthony? So he was sinless, and he was laid in a manger, wrapped in clothes. Just like the bread in verse 34. The unleavened bread was laid in the kneading trough. Verse 35. The Israelites had done Moshe's bidding and borrowed from the Egyptians objects of silver and gold and clothing. And Yahweh had disposed the Egyptians favorably toward the people, and they let them have their request. Thus they stripped the Egyptians. The Israelites journeyed from Ramesses to Sukkot, about 600,000 men on foot, aside from children. Moreover, a mixed multitude went up with them, and very much livestock, both flocks and herds. So right here in verse 38 it says a mixed multitude. So if you ever hear anybody say the Jews were the ones at the Mount Sinai, they weren't Jews. Jews just one tribe of Israel. That's another video for another time. But there was more than the 12 tribes of Israel there. There were Gentiles there who became in covenant with Yahweh too. The ones that decided they wanted to follow God's law and not worship the golden calf. That you read later. So, verse 39, and they baked unleavened cakes of the dough that they had taken out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, since they had been driven out of Egypt and could not delay, nor had they prepared any provisions for themselves. The length of time that the Israelites lived in Egypt was 430 years. They didn't live in Egypt 430 years in this Masoretic text that they make this out of. Some versions will have what the Septuagint actually says, which is the Israelites lived in Egypt and Canaan 430 years. The reason for that is because the time that God gave Abraham, Yahweh gave Abraham the prophecy of his children being come out of Egypt, be in slavery for 430 years. Some of that time was in Canaan before they went to Egypt. So, at the end of the 430th year, to the very day, all the ranks of Yahweh departed from the land of Egypt. That was for Yahweh a night of vigil to bring them out of the land of Egypt. That same night is Yahweh's one of vigil for all the children of Israel throughout the ages. Sometimes some of our peoples, they stay up all night because of this verse. Some don't. You don't have to. It says one of Yahweh's nights of vigil. It's because the Israelites traveled all night long to escape from Egypt. But you don't have to stay up all night long. Verse 43. Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, "This is the law of the Passover offering. No foreigner shall eat of it." So, laws for Passover. No foreigner, a slave circumcised can eat. Okay, I'm going to read through this and then I'm going to go through it. Read the rest of the verses. No foreigner shall eat of it, but any slave a man has bought may eat of it once he has been circumcised. No bound or hired laborer shall eat of it. It shall be eaten in one house. You shall not take any of the flesh outside the house, nor shall you break a bone of it. The whole community of Israel shall offer it. If a stranger who dwells with you would offer the Passover to Yahweh, all his males must be circumcised. Then he shall be admitted to offer it. He shall then be as a citizen of the country. But no uncircumcised person may eat of it. There shall be one law for the citizen and for the stranger who dwells among you. And all the Israelites did so as Yahweh had commanded Moses and Aaron, so they did. That very day Yahweh freed the Israelites from the land of Egypt, troop by troop. So starting in verse 43, the laws for Passover. No foreigner, that means no one in covenant with Yahweh, shall eat of it. A slave circumcised.
No one not in covenant?
Right. If
Okay,
you're not in covenant,
I thought you said.
No.
Okay.
No one in covenant. No one that is not in covenant cannot eat of the Passover.
There you go.